Students disenfranchised, easy computers and gadgets robbed, and the accusations of violent attacks characterized the just-ended limited voters registration exercise, plus some political parties calling for an extension.
We were in the queue when we were about to register. Then it was time for us to go and write our exams, so we left to write exams. We came back only to get the information that they are done for the day.
So how does this look for the Electoral Commission as they lose some of the data collected just ended limited voters registration? What are the possible implications of disenfranchising first-time voters in the 2016 general elections? And if the voters registration exercise had generated so much violence, how secured is the 2016 elections? Do we need an extension? We'll be finding all of the answers on today's big story. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Well, essential information of the Electoral Commission has been taken away as 4 computers and biometric verification devices were stolen from the Savlugu office of the Electoral Commission just hours after the Commission completed the limited voter registration exercise across the country. Now, apart from this incident, the registration exercise was also characterized by pockets of violence in some regions. Now, while worried about pockets of violence that have characterized the exercise, some political parties' representatives and their agents have called for an extension of that exercise, arguing that a lot of people were disenfranchised due to the limited number of centers and other issues. So let's do some analysis now. Let's begin with Jaba, who is the coordinating secretary of UTAG. Good evening to you. Thanks for your time.
Good evening, madam.
Jaba, so what are your concerns?
Okay. The problem has been that for the first 5 days and also at the end of the entire registration process, we realized most of the students who had queued were unable to register, all in the name of the system is unable to pick up students or people after 6 p.m. So before then, during the registration process itself, most of them queued as early as 3:30 a.m. But it gets to 6 p.m., they are unable to register, and it carried on till the last day. But before then, there were issues on campus, as in it was only one registration center was given to the whole University of Ghana campus, and on the 8th and 9th day, extra centers were given, but unfortunately it couldn't meet our demand. And most of the students, as it stands now, they've been able to register only 1,563 as at the 10-day period. But we made a survey and we had about 7,000 students who were ready to be registered. As at the end of yesterday's process, we had about 520 people who had queued but were unable to register as at 6 p.m.
So do you have an estimate of how many people from your side have been disenfranchised?
More than 1,000 people, because as at 520 people were in a queue, were queued to register. But people went to write exams. When they returned, they had closed the whole process.
And have you reported this to officials of the Electoral Commission? What did they say about this?
Yes, we've petitioned the EC. University of Ghana, SRC has petitioned the EC. We are also on tomorrow. We will turn our petition to the EC and find out the possible ways of solving this whole issue.
Well, many thanks to you, Jaba. Jaba is the coordinating secretary of UTAG. We can now listen to complaints of some students.
I wanted to register, but I couldn't register. We were in the queue when we were about to register. Then it was time for us to go and write our exams, so we left to write exams. We came back only to get the information that they are done for the day, and today too happens to be the last day, so we couldn't register.
You had 5 days to go through the process. Why would you wait till today?
Because we were in an examination, we couldn't leave our books there to come and queue. In fact, actually, I was here in the first day, but I was here, the queue was so hectic that I have exams, we were in examination week, we couldn't queue from us at, people were here at 3 a.m. So we couldn't queue till that time, whilst our books are also lying there waiting for us because we are in the examination week. So it's a very bad timing, I must say. That's why
we are not happy about this.
We are not happy at all, and I don't think I'm the only person because we are a lot of people who were not able to register.
No, I shouldn't be excited because I'm really disappointed. I'm supposed to vote, I have the right to vote, and then today I had a paper, I came to join a queue. I finished writing my paper, it wasn't my turn yet, so I had to go back. And I just came and they are like 2 years time, really.
Is it the first time you had come here?
No, I always come around. I had a paper on Saturday and I had one today, so I can't just leave my books and then be here the whole day. I join queues and then when I come, all that they say, they reform the queue.
Oh, I've been here during the week, from the day they started till now. And today, for instance, I had a paper, and me going and coming back is just telling me that it ended, and today is the last day. Really, no, I don't think it's possible, but they have to restart it and give it at least a longer period, like a month or something like that, yes, because there are lots of people in Ghana, and a lot of people have turned 18 over the years. So we can't just use 5 days for such an exercise. And we need a voter's ID card for so many other reasons, not for voting alone.
About 3 days now, I see myself to be disenfranchised. I'm not happy at all. You can see I'm bored over here because I've been queuing for about 4 days now. Our first day police station, the first police station was at Legon Hall. Yeah, I queued for about 3 good days. I weren't able to register, so I had to come. I heard that they've opened another police station over here, so I had to come and queue. When we came here over here too, the queue was so long to understand that since morning around 5:30, when I came here, we've been queuing till 6 p.m. when the whole come to an end, and I wasn't able to register, and I'm very, very sad.
Yes, I'm really sad. I wanted to register. I wanted to partake in this election, so I thought it was to come and register. I started way back Friday when there was a new center here, Marty Elizabeth Francis C. Hall. As it stands now to be in the examination, we can have a paper go well in Monday afternoon, so I'm lagging behind, and there's up and down, so I'm being stressed out. I'm so sad that I couldn't get the opportunity.
Well, there are people who feel that the exercise was not well planned. We'll hear from those people. But on top of that, there is accusation from the NPP. And the latest is that the Deputy Local Government Minister, Alhaji Collins Dauda, has attacked executives of the NPP. I spoke with the Acting General Secretary, John Boydu, a while ago, who will be joining us soon. And he says that they have evidence to show that Alhaji Collins Dauda has attacked them, plus the chairman in some of the constituencies. But we've been trying to get him on the phone. Joining me also is Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, George Lawson. Good evening, George. Thanks for your time.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you too?
By his grace, I'm also fine.
So how do you respond to accusations that a member of your party is attacking the NPP? I mean, this is coming after some accusations since day one. That's the limited voter registration started, that your men have been attacking some NPP men at the centers. But this time, the Acting General Secretary is very sure that you attacked him, Alhaji Collins Dauda attacked him, and some of his executives.
Thank you very much. You've heard from the Acting General Secretary of the NPP. Have you heard from the local government minister to Collins Dauda?
That's why
as a journalist, you have to listen to both sides so that you form our opinion. You don't listen. So this one is an allegation.
That is why we are asking the NDC
have been over-communicated, over-hyped, and some have been false. So please listen to the side, the version of our Collins Dauda, then we can now talk to the East. Why we've not listened to, we've not heard from Collins Dauda, I think we cannot talk, because it is very fair to Collins Dauda to hear from him. There's an allegation leveled against him, so you need to give him a listening ear.
We are unable to get Alhaji Collins Dauda because his phones are off, but we thought that because he's a member of your party, you may have information about all of this.
Did we level that allegation against Collins Dauda? Our opponents have leveled that. So you need to look for Collins Dauda. You need to look. What you are saying is news to me, and I have not heard anything from Collins Dauda. So you would have to look for Collins, because once you are airing the sentiments or the allegations leveled against him from our opponents, you need to be very fair. And in journalism, you look at both sides. The flip side. When you look at the flip side of the coin.
I must say, it's been difficult. It's been difficult getting the deputy local minister to speak. It's been difficult.
No, Collins Dauda is not deputy local minister. Collins Dauda is not a deputy local minister. He is a substantive minister for local government.
And I'm saying that it's been difficult getting him because all his so off.
Until you can say this is an allegation, but until you get Collins Dauda, then the story will be complete.
But generally, how does your party respond to some of these accusations that your men are attacking the NPP guys?
It is not true. It is not true. They must prove it. It is not true. As I just saying, they always throw that. I always say throw that into that to win sympathy. That is it. So listen to both sides. And then once you listen to both sides, then you see where the truth lies.
That's why we're listening to you now, George Lawson. We listen to the NPP and we want a response from the NDC.
If you are speaking to me, the allegation did not come from me. I was not the one in question.
But you've been monitoring the exercise. You've been on the ground. You've been at the centers. What are your observations? Were your men attacking the NPP men?
Our men never attacked NPP. We never did that. We never did that. They, at a point, especially like, for instance, in some areas where, in terms of challenge bomb, they refuse our people from picking, again, preventing some people from registering, and that sort of misunderstanding happened. Yes, there were some pockets of acts or some pockets of violence or acts of violence in certain, which is very unfortunate, those ones. But for you to specifically mention somebody that we or Collins Dauda attacked this, that is what I'm so much interested in. Because all acts of violence must be condemned, whether from our side, NPP side, or any other side, must be condemned. Very unfortunate. But again, there are some that NPP said, the allegations they leveled against were not true. Just to win sympathy. We're not true. We're false. And this democracy of ours should not be built on falsehood. It should be built on honesty and candor, truthfulness. When the thing is true, then we all condemn it. Because we need to deepen the democracy that we've accepted to, we have embraced. For this democracy to grow, it cannot grow without honesty, without candor, without truthfulness. If we would have to be peddling lies to win sympathy, we have to be that, we'll be doing harm to the democracy that was all embraced, the good governance. So we'll let the truth be told. And when it's told, we condemn and we learn from it and move on.
Well, many thanks to you, George Lawson. We're still trying to get the local government minister, Alhaji Collins Dauda, to tell us his side of the story. Of course, the MPP is showing pictures that is speaking for or supporting the allegation that the local government minister has engaged in some form of violence with their executives. We're still trying to get the acting general secretary of the NPP to speak more on this issue. But on the phone line now is David Agbe, his governance expert. He will tell us about his impression because he's also being on the ground to observe the elections. Good evening to you, Dave. Thanks for your time.
Yes, good evening, Aisha.
Your quick impression about the just ended limited voters registration exercise.
I think generally it has been quite encouraging that we've seen quite a lot of people trying to show interest in registering. And now we could say that, yes, I mean, hundreds and thousands of people have registered. So it's quite encouraging that we are witnessing this kind of phenomenon. It is giving us an indication that a lot of people are more interested to actually cast their vote in November election. A lot of youth and old men and women and all over are interested in building democracy. And so fundamentally, a lot of people have really shown interest. However, I must say that, like you said, we've been monitoring. And you know, Ghana Institute of Governance and Security, our key indicators is to try as much as possible to monitor closely how we can develop election integrity in this country. So we've been directly involved since 28th of April up to yesterday, Saturday, that the whole limit registration exercise ended.
There are people who feel that this exercise was not well planned. Do you share that view?
Yes, I've said it in several platforms that the Electoral Commission should have, done a lot of consultation. And public policy management, and more or less, when it comes to electoral management system, there is a lot of consultation which should have been done. I have said it over and over that Electoral Commission, having monitored election, having supervised election in this country very well, and knowing the more, if I could say, the dynamics of the game, they should have more like collaborated with Ghana Education Service, polytechnic, universities, and all that, such that they will be able to do these exercises smoothly, because we know that as we speak, every Ghanaian is trying as much as possible to send his daughter to secondary schools, to universities, polytechnics. So all the youth are directly in tertiary institutions here and there. So Electoral Commission should have coordinated, should have planned, and be able to engage all these universities and secondary schools and polytechnics, so that they will be able to get clear identity from those students. I mean, a student will have his name, his age, and everything on a student's ID card, so that going into the polling station, it will be so easy for us to be able to identify that this person qualifies as a Ghanaian, this person has attained the age of 18 years and all. And so Electoral Commission should have engaged all these stakeholders clearly. It is not only the political parties. Normally, Electoral Commission, is interested in engaging NDC and MPP. They should go beyond by looking at the entire stakeholders. And so they should have been able to get political scientists who will be able to guide them. But when you go to Electoral Commission website, you will see all these lawyers and there. But when it comes to policy, planning strategy, you need political scientists who will be able to know the reality on the ground and be able to plan thoroughly, so that everybody will be, more involved into it. So,
Ms. Agbe, there are concerns that a lot more people have been disenfranchised. Do we need an extension?
I do not think, as to speak now, we need an extension. What we need to do, clearly, is that anybody who have not had the opportunity to register should walk to any Electoral Commission office across the length and breadth of various districts and show his identity and be able to register. I think that if we are able to do that, we'll be able to, help the Electoral Commission, rather than to extend it to all various constituencies where, there will be this kind of acrimony between NDC and MPP, people, holding guns and machetes here and there. It would not order well. What we would encourage, citizens to do is to walk to Electoral Commission office at district level and be able to register.
The Electoral Commission has lost some computers and some verification machines, and what this means is that the Electoral Commission may have lost some of the data it's collected. How will this affect the upcoming elections?
I guess you are raising concerns of what we've read in Northern Region, but we need some of the electoral officers, to be able to tell us the story. Our information suggests that they have a data system where those information has not lost at all. And so let's try to engage those officers on the ground to know clearly whether those materials has actually lost or not. But I think that they will be able to have a backup which will be able to get all those informations back. But I think that the police, I mean, we speak, as security organization as well. We thought that the security architecture wasn't much involved, in the whole planning strategy of these limited, registration exercise. We didn't feel the real presence of the security agencies, although, I mean, we saw them here and there. But in terms of directly making sure that they protect everybody there, making sure that they protect electoral materials, we didn't really feel the presence of the police. And we believe that they should be able to look at all these things that have actually come to play, and then we'll be able to change our dynamics such that when we are going into the national election in November 7, we wouldn't see some of these things, showing its ugly head. I mean, these macho men, going around, beating people here and there. I think that the police should be able to clamp on all those people, try as much as possible to arrest some of them, and be able to imprison them for, violating fundamental human rights of other, fellow Ghanaians.
Well, many thanks you. David Agbe is a governance expert. We're really grateful for your time on today's big story. Now, let me speak with Dr. Franklin Baini, who is a security expert. Good evening to you, Dr. Baini.
Good evening.
Let me quickly ask about your impression, or whether you're satisfied with the just ended limited voters registration exercise.
Well, in the first place, thank you, and also good evening to wonderful listeners over there. With just the person I've been listening, the brother I will listen to the governance expert. I've been listening quietly. I think he has made a lot of points. But I will come from the angle of elections and security, because all that has taken place has security implications in line with what is ahead of us. So the nature of an election makes it very, very vulnerable to the range
and of course, an exercise like the voter registration exercise is seen to be a dress rehearsal for the 2016 election. So if the exercise is characterized with so much violence, how secured will the 2016 elections be?
Yes, and this is why I want to take you quickly through just an overview of elections and security in relation to that of what is ahead of us. So because effective election security analysis must draw on information and expertise from the multiple arenas of all election exercises. Now, a high level of communication and coordination among the agencies responsible, like my brother said, for the administration and security of an election is very, very significant here, and that's also at the same time an advantage. Neither of these can also, when you look at the security analysis and the planning, be effective when it occurs in a very short period before the election process starts, nor depends solely on a reactive strategy. Okay? Now, anticipating and preempting security risks, mitigating their impact and probability of occurrence is a strategic endeavor of both electoral authorities and their security partners. Just like my brother said, the security agencies will seem not to have been much involved, so we didn't see much of their presence. Henceforth, the kind of pockets of violence here and there. But remember, an electoral process is considered from the complex series of interdependent sub-processes. Generically, it includes, as usual, boundary delimitation, civic education, voter registration, which we have just done. We are now at the voter registration. Party registration has come and gone, candidate nomination, all this. But this area is where is the key. In fact, the fundamental of the election forthcoming in November 7th. Now, campaign period, pulling all these things will come. But I tell you, with the exception of boundary limitation, which indeed are normally depend upon consensus, these sub-processes occur in some of the fact what has taken place right now in this course of this registration. Each of all these sub-processes can be characterized by different types of threats, influenced by particular approach adopted, cross-influence between sub-processes and individual circumstances for election. So what we have just gone through and seen in this very registration, indeed, it tells you that the circumstantial conditions of an election can alter quickly, requiring the rapid reprioritization or invalidation of initial security assumptions. So, indeed, what I will say is that accordingly, the analysis of threats ahead of us, or from now, indeed, risk is a continuous task as you know, throughout the electoral process. And it's not simply as event-driven.
How can we deal with this threat you're talking about as election gets closer?
Yeah, before then, there are types of security threats likely to arise in particular elections, influenced by both structural and technological aspects of election process. The structural design of electoral process, such as the choice of electoral system. But however, there are other steps we can take, because apart from what I've mentioned so far, it also leads to a threat of terrorism, international terrorism, organized crime comes up. But all calls for what our security agents, which indeed my brother, the governance expert, mentioned that it looks like in the structural process they were still not to be involved much. Because I can't understand in Volta region where military will head on the airways, military and then police were involved in the work of the electoral process of registering and backing people here and there. The news are here and there, which is unfortunate. So where lies the role and the responsibility as enshrined in the Constitution of the police and that of the Electoral Commission? And of course, subsequently, the Electoral Commission empowering officers to be there to register. So I see that what we can do is what indeed the security agents, which have been mandated by the Constitution, must stand up to really defend the Constitution, their role as to defend and to ensure peace in the country. While the armed forces are to defend the territorial bodies or boundaries of this country. But it looks like there's a sort of fusion of powers, fusion of responsibilities, fusion of mandate taking place there. It is not going to otherwise. If it goes this way, I'm afraid it can spark conflict, and we are not desirable for conflict in this country.
Well, many thanks to you, Dr. Franklin Mbine, is a security analyst. Thank you so much for your time. We can listen to the MP for Ayawase West Wuogon, Emmanuel Ejako, who was speaking to my colleague, and he says that the elections was not well, the registration exercise was not well planned.
I think that this has been very poorly planned and executed.
But the argument is that these students had 5 days to register.
Oh, come on. Did anybody find out how many people that needed to register? I think that a very conservative estimate will be in the region of 4,000 to 6,000. So if your machine can do a maximum of 130, let me even be charitable and say 150. Did anybody look at the real figures and plan appropriately? There has been 2 admissions in this university. Every admission is in the region of 8,000 for regular students. Most of them have exited senior secondary school into university. They do so around the ages of 17 and 18. Let's assume that for both groups, 50% are never registered. You are talking of a figure of 8,000. I want to believe that the Electoral Commission must have a planning department that should have taken into consideration all of these things.
This is today's big story. If you just joined us, we've been talking about the limited voters registration exercise which ended yesterday, that's on Sunday, and we're looking at some of the issues that have come up seriously. We've been talking about disenfranchising students, we've been talking about violence attacks, and the fact that some people want an extension of the limited voters registration. We've been hoping that the Electoral Commission will do something about some of the issues that have come up. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Have a good evening.